All right, everybody. Welcome back. I know it's been quite a while. Quite a while. Uh just a little personal life update. Oh, I think I'm echoing. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Okay. Sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulty. Yeah, basically just a little personal life update for me. I obviously did a lot more since we last spoke. Um, Started some of the town plot neighborhood, the West End. I finished Route 8, finished 84 from east to west. Um, and I also did some further expansion of different neighborhoods here. I had a very difficult time streaming. My own personal life, I moved and I got married. So, as you can imagine, priorities had kind of shifted around a bit. One of the things I managed to do, which is terrible, I flooded the East End. Um, I did so on accident, of course, as a result of trying to fix the Mad River, which never works for me. I don't know why I keep messing that up, but we will fix that eventually. I just have kind of stopped working on that side of the city until I can get everything else to look exactly as I would like it to. So, in the meantime, what I would like to do is kind of go over what's been modified, what's been done, how everything is going, and continue working on this because I really do enjoy this series. And I've seen a lot of different support from different folks for me to continue this series. A lot of people who are locals who, would love to see this thing finished. And genuinely, I want to. It's not a matter of me, giving up on the series or losing interest. I genuinely want to. I just have had so much time away from it. And on top of that, too, one of the things I had become an issue was the playset that I was using. All the different mods that I was using were no longer functioning as they should, and so the city would just spawn with a bunch of broken textures. You can still see there are some broken textures. I'm not sure what that's all about. I think, if I remember correctly, these are the parking spaces that we use in between the houses. Um, I don't believe the game logic is going to like work with them being broken like that. Like I don't think cars are going to be able to park, even though I do see some cars parked in there. I just will eventually, obviously, have to go back in and fix that. And I don't, necessarily want to bore you to death with talking about mods and all that stuff because it's just incredibly boring. But got the mix master here. Um, Obviously, it's not stacked because of limitations in the game, but I do know for a fact that since I had first streamed, there have been some updates regarding the Mixmaster because it's pretty much just about reaching its life expectancy as a safe and functional transportation. Well, I don't know how you would describe it, but basically, it's just about reached its limit here of being a safe road for cars to travel on. Because I believe when they had designed it originally, the goal was to create a place where we could mix 84 and 8 alongside the Naugatuck River. But and it was, as I said before, a marvel of its time. It really was quite the engineering marvel. But today, it's just becoming a bit antiquated, and there are far more efficient ways of doing this mess. That actually the new design, the new plan, is something similar to what I've done here, just two highways side by side like that. Um, I think that that's going to do the city a lot better. And the whole idea here is to really focus on future proofing the actual city, right? The real city, making sure that we can continue to have traffic flow regularly without any kind of massive interruptions. Even though if you're local to this area, you know that the Mixmaster is always being interrupted, and there's always lane closures and exit closures and detours and all that stuff. But a lot of that is because of the maintenance that goes into this system. So as a result, in frequent um, construction and renovation of different parts and components of the Mixmaster is not uncommon. And so the idea here is that what they build to replace it would be more future proofed, built with better materials, and also designed a fair bit better. So that way, for the next several decades, it can maintain the um maintain itself without requiring all this different construction going on. So it's actually really cool. I can definitely see if I can pull up a picture of what that new highway will look like. But I also had an idea for using like Google Earth or Google Maps to kind of compare some of the neighborhoods. The only concern there is I just don't want my computer to explode. I have, as you can tell with some of the frame rate issues here, my computer this year turned 5 years old, and it's uh, it's getting there. I think it's holding in pretty well, but for sure it is reaching its capacity here when it comes to running games nicely. So definitely definitely have to figure out something. But what I'll do is I'll probably include photos in the VOD. I'll try to modify it a little bit so I can include some of the videos references of what I'm talking about. Because there are several photos that you can look online. If you look at the new plan for the Mixmaster, you'll be able to find images on Google. So as you can tell here, I also worked on the south end a bit more, expanded into several different neighborhoods, the Hopeville neighborhood, as well as Washington Hill, Brooklyn. We expanded the um, industrial park here a bit. As I mentioned before, Town Plot and the West End. And we also added in here what is supposed to be the Naugatuck Valley Community College. And across the street, there's actually a pretty large medical complex that I just used to put in a health research institute. Again, limitations with mods and assets, but I did see recently that the good thing about all of this too is that they are adding asset mods into CS2. So that's going to be exciting news for us because it means that we're going to be able to add more custom buildings into the game. So whether it's this Waterbury project or any other project of mine, I'm actually going to be able to have far better assets available that are not necessarily better, but more geared towards the look that I'm trying to go for. Because obviously, if you're from Waterbury, it's not very common that you'd see these kind of houses in these certain neighborhoods. Of course, the creator content packs do their best to try to replicate the vibe of Northeast and Southwestern architecture, which is great. I really do admire their work. You can't master it. You can't really get everything exactly perfect. And even too, like with the suburbs, I'm not a huge fan of the standard North American suburbs. So what I've done is I've used either the UK assets for some of these suburbs that are up in the hills away from downtown. Um, and I even used, I believe in some of these neighborhoods, I used the Southwestern. That's why these ones don't have snow on their lawn. It's because they're using the Southwestern mod pack or creator pack. But yeah. So this is pretty much what we have for right now. I do believe it's in my best interest to verify that those parking mods are active. So what I'm going to do before I get too carried away here, because I don't want parking availability to become a problem for the city, because really, frankly, it already is. Especially since we're using, just to keep with the theme of Waterbury, we're using these tight roads here that do not have street parking. So long as we're working on these urban neighborhoods, they're going to need parking lots in between the apartment buildings just because they cannot park anywhere else. And as you can tell, they fill the main street quite quickly, pretty much the entire length of that street. with parked cars. Anywhere where they can park, they will park. So we got to get them more reliable parking. So I will be taking a short intermission to be able to address that. Um, I also want to double check too. I believe our overlay has changed. Part of what I have been doing with City Skylines, aside from streaming, has been focusing on other different projects that I have really been passionate about. There's a lot of interesting, I guess you would say, concepts for cities that have been designed that I kind of wanted to take and see if I could make in City Skylines. I had a pretty neat Soviet city that I had designed that was basically all these mega roads and highly walkable neighborhoods atop of them. It was a fun project for a while. I had some really cool looking Soviet era apartment blocks going. It looked really cool to me. It's very aesthetically pleasing. But I gave up on that, and then I started working on a different project that was basically the place that my wife grew up in. Very similar to how I did Waterbury. I wanted to make sure I could do hers as well, where she's from. I got really, really carried away on that one, and that one I would say is almost as fleshed out as this one. But eventually, once I have it a little bit more fleshed out, I'll be streaming that one as well for all of the fans who are from that area. It's a pretty big county, so. And I also, of course, for the same reason that I didn't start this stream right away, what I typically do is I work on parts of the city that I know best. And I don't want anyone necessarily to figure out where it was that I lived or went to school or anything like that. So obviously, I'm a little bit careful with how I do that. So I'm doing the same with that project. I'm making sure that everything is fleshed out. So that way, when you see the city, you just see the city. I'm not giving away any kind of personal information like that. And then, of course, I also have a project that focuses mainly on becoming a Chicago inspired city. So it's on a Chicago map, but it's not supposed to be a one-to-one replica of Chicago like this is a one-to-one replica of Waterbury. And I can say with great gratitude, I've actually learned a lot of valuable lessons when it comes to custom map making. Um, I believe that what I did with Waterbury is adequate. We've determined, through in the last episode, that some of the hills are a bit too steep, and some things are not quite exactly as they should be. So very, very often, I will have to go in and flatten the terrain. But when it came to the other project there that I was referring to, where my wife grew up, and even with the Chicago map, I learned that there's a lot of different scaling settings that you have to use in order to really master that and get it right to where you want it to be. So I don't think that I will be redoing the custom map for Waterbury. I will just be dealing with the problems as they arise. As you can tell, there are several problems. Mainly flooding is a big one. But I can work with it. I can work around it. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so I think that we had discussed before, one of the things that I really wanted to accomplish here was to kind of reimagine some of the things that the city is currently facing. So obviously in this area, if you're from this area, you'd be familiar that this is typically where the mall would be. Um, I personally would love to see this neighborhood transformed into, or this area to be transformed into a mixed use neighborhood. Some place where we can provide additional housing at a remarkable rate for the people of Waterbury. Nice new buildings, storefronts, and things of the sort that could go here instead of a big dead mall, which is common of a lot of different malls in America right now, to be honest. So nothing against Waterbury and nothing against the mall. I just think that the way that, basically the economy has gone is people do prefer to shop online. And even if they don't necessarily prefer to shop online, they do prefer to be in places that are at least somewhat attractive to consumers, right? Not just a old mall with a bunch of closed down stores and high rents, so that way stores and new storefronts don't come in. They do offer discounts to certain places, but then you get stores that really no one wants to shop at. or really trendy stores that kind of just last for 5 seconds. You remember Froyo used to be a really big thing, and honestly, I remember back when I lived in Waterbury at the time, there was Froyo places just about in every neighborhood. But they go away quickly if they don't keep up with the times and they don't change what they do. I know a lot of different Froyo places eventually broke out into what's it called there? Boba. A lot of those places broke out into that because it was a very um, sought after beverage. Everyone really wanted them. And I think that's what's kept a lot of these frozen yogurt places alive. But many of the frozen yogurt places in Waterbury did not adopt that model. And as a result, they are closed. So you have to find a balance because I think a lot of these different places in the mall are, really vying for a affordable place to do business. But because the place is no longer sought after, I believe this year, last year as well, there was actually, unfortunately, a fatal shooting in the mall as well. I don't know if it was fatal or not, but I do know some people did get very badly hurt. It's just not the kind of vibe or environment that you would want to shop in, right? You're going into stores with money or with a wallet full of different cards. You don't want to go into a place and feel like you're in danger, whether you are or not, right? That's the other thing too. Sometimes you actually are in danger and sometimes you're not. But people just do not like taking that risk. They do not like taking that gamble. And on top of that, there is, like in most American cities, a housing crisis. So it would be very nice to see this area just transformed, as I said, into an additional neighborhood with additional housing options for the citizens of Waterbury and anyone who's looking to move into the city. Because as we said before, a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of people from the greater New York metropolitan area come to live here. And it's because of its convenience. It's because out here, you can own a house, you can own some land. Not a whole lot, but you at least have, some freedom where you're not stacked into a big building or, forced to deal with the New York traffic all the time. And obviously, you can take 84 Route 8 down to New York. You can take the train, which I believe I finished the track. Yeah, there's one of the trains going right now down to, that would be Bridgeport, to then connect to Grand Central Station. So, obviously, this is a very ideal city for people who still want to stay connected to New York City, but want to kind of live on their own out in a place where there's a little bit more space. So that's some of the major stuff that I did. As you can tell, I finished a lot of the rail line because I said that was another aspect of the city that I wish to improve on was expanding the Metro North train lines north of Waterbury. So as you can see, I have some train tracks that go up into the Naugatuck Valley up here. And that would be heading towards the Thomaston and Torrington train infrastructure up there, which having visited those areas quite often, I can tell you that those are in more disarray than the ones that are here. So at least some of them. I know that Thomaston keeps a very good care of the rail lines that they do. There's several, I think I mentioned before too, there's several different private clubs that are like nonprofits that seek to basically restore and maintain the rail lines as a means of basically just keeping the history alive. They have a lot of the old cars. They have a lot of the old trains, and they do a lot of different like Christmas tours this time of year, which is really nice. So yeah, let's go ahead then. I'm going to take a brief intermission just to fix the parking. I know it's kind of annoying because so many people have been waiting for this to come back, but I do promise that we will return. I just want to get that parking resolved so we can actually start building again. And I also want to double check and make sure that the overlay is on. I don't believe it is. And even if it is on, unfortunately, as we saw in the last episode too, snow makes it really hard to see that overlay. So I'm hoping that at least we can build out some major roads and perhaps begin expanding different neighborhoods. And eventually, once Waterbury is 100% complete, we are going to move on to one of the surrounding towns. So as you can tell over here, this area would be like Wolcott. And I did a little bit of building out here just to make sure that everything is going to be ready for us to move in that direction. But uh, Wolcott is going to be pretty easy because there's not a whole lot of uh, busy streets or anything like that. It's mainly just these suburban neighborhoods, which are, in my opinion, one of the easiest to fill out. But also the other issue is that not all the houses are as like stacked up as these are. So there's going to be a couple houses here, a couple houses there, then forest, and then a couple houses, couple fields, couple houses, yada yada. So we'll have to figure that out. That's going to be something that I'm going to rely heavily upon with Google Earth to make sure that we can really nail that. So as you can see here too, I kind of expanded the industrial part over here in this part of Waterbury. I believe it's called, yeah, Captain Neville Industrial Park, Scott Road Neighborhood, and Reedville Industrial Park. I'm not sure why these guys are having issues with crime. I think the local police stations, for some reason, don't have them added as um, working districts. So let me get that. Or operating districts. Yeah, there we go. Because that should not be. And then I believe this is state police. Yeah, so that should fix that. There should be police officers that are going to be now visiting Reedville Industrial Park. That was just a little slip up on my end. And I think the other thing that we're having too is another problem. Honestly, this is true across so many different city skylines. Is death care, which is essentially handling how many, or excuse me, the capacity to handle death in the city. So we can see all these little red icons here with the black car. That's dead bodies waiting for a hearse. There is a particular neighborhood in Waterbury that is lined with countless funeral halls, and I believe it's this street here. So you know what we'll do, actually, before I get too carried away with the mods, I want to see if we can slap down several crematoriums and just get something simple here. Just as a way to kind of counteract this death wave, as they call them. Because I want to make sure that we have... oh, here we go. Here we go. I think I can also expand upon existing crematoriums. So that'd be great. That'd be really, really good. But I just want to help with that because obviously it's not ideal to have all those different alerts popping up all the time. And we do want to make sure this is a functional city after all. So let's see. Do we have any? Yeah, we do have a couple graveyards. Yeah, okay. Okay. This one is full tremendously. UK Parish Church facility full. All right. Well, that's not great. We will get back to fixing that as well. And we can see here with the crematorium availability, there's about 534 deaths a month. The handling capacity at the moment is 391. So we do want to crank that up. We do want to make sure that we are able to handle that because obviously there's quite a lot of people here that are waiting for a hearse. Also, another problem is the pollution. Now, the pollution, if we look at the, pull up the pollution information view here, we can see a lot of air pollution is coming from this industrial park here in Brooklyn, and the wind is blowing this all the way into Washington Hill. Now, if you're from Washington Hill, you'll know that most of these factories are abandoned. But again, I am an optimist. I want to see these places back up and running, industry flowing well, providing jobs and opportunities for people in the city to, be able to have and to enjoy. So really, idealistically, this would not be happening. I think the game is sometimes a little excessive with the industrial zones. There are mods that add low pollution industrial zones, things like warehouses and stuff like that. I think I might install that and replace some of these with that so that way these poor people don't have to constantly complain about the air pollution. Because that would be nice to again, not have to constantly see all these dots going on. And this place over here, the reason why they're having crime issues is because there's not a district. So I can't set the operating district for the police yet. So Haven't gotten that far. I will get there. I will do that. In the meantime, these businesses, unfortunately, are going to be susceptible to crime. So, that being said, let's go ahead, as I said, take a brief intermission. I'm going to fix the mods. I'm going to get the overlay working, and we will return right back to the series. Thanks so much. All right. We are back. I've got all of our stuff added back into the game here. I've got, of course, our overlay. And if you look here, we have our parking lots back, which is great, which means now that parking is not going to be a problem and we're not going to see a bunch of missing assets, which, to be honest with you, I hate. Everything that I hate in this game has to do with it either not functioning, right? Like how we have noise complaints, we have pollution complaints, we have death care complaints, but of course, missing assets. It drives me absolutely nuts. I want everything when I go into this view to look nice and pretty and to work exactly as it should. So I wish I noticed that before I went live because honestly, that kind of stuff drives me up a wall, but I'm glad we got it fixed. So looking here at the overlay, we can see that pretty much a lot of different things here are figured out. I forgot to show you this as well. I got the post university campus and several of the houses all set up here as well as their football field. So I'm going to be eventually building out the neighborhoods. I'm just kind of building some of these far out landmarks as a way to recognize and acknowledge where I am at so I can kind of keep track of my progress and know where certain things are going to be going. So let's see here. I think I'm just reviewing my Google Earth here. I think I'm going to start working on the west end a bit more. Let's see. I think it would be very nice to be able to see the road, as I said. Let me try something here. I might be able to crank my uh, image overlay transparency up. Like if I just turn that off completely, does it help? Kind of. It's just so hard to see the white on white, to be honest with you. Um, it's easier when the transparency is there a little bit to be able to see the green come through of the actual map itself, but I can't really see that. That sucks. For the meantime, let's go ahead and just let time run so that way we can get out of winter and into spring. So we can then obviously uh, get the streets built out more and we can flesh out some of these neighborhoods. I don't know if I showed this on stream last time, but I did build the Holy Land Cross up on this hill. I thought it was a nice little contribution to the city. Definitely makes it feel a lot more like the actual city, which is great. So, big bonus there. Very excited about that. I believe what we can probably work on is getting this resolved, but the issue is I don't know if it's getting worse or better. I guess I can kind of tell by the flow here that the water definitely is going down, but I think that's going to dry the river out completely, and that's not necessarily what I want either. As you can tell, it's already dried up in some spaces. To be honest, I think for right now, I would rather it dry up. Because we just got to clean this up and we got to figure out how to manage that better. I really suck at doing water when it comes to city skylines. I got better at it with I believe I did when I think it was the other map, the New Jersey map that I'm working on. That map did a lot better because I figured out exactly how that works. One thing I guess we could focus on here is why the hell are all these people waiting for a bus? What's going on here? Are the buses not operating as they should be? Can we take a look at this? This is 229. So it's not even our busiest line. Oh my. Let's get some more information on this. So there's 10 vehicles assigned to it. It's 2 electric bus, by the way. Why don't we crank that to at least double? I mean, this is a little outrageous. I'm hoping that doing so, we'll be able to see a couple buses come soon that can get these people going. I think that this is over here. That's a bus for them, I believe, but it's full. It's got 80 passengers out of 80. And I do believe that the traffic is not going to move here because of the fact that those people are stuck. That's not great. And these people are stuck too. Why are these people stuck? What's going on over here? Not a whole lot, but such is common in a city as busy as Waterbury. Some of these streets are not necessarily the best for the amount of traffic that comes through. I don't recall whether or not you can take a left turn there. I'm not sure you can. So that might just have to be 2 straight lanes because we have, 2 straight lanes of traffic coming in and kind of cramming to have to take that left turn. This is still a nightmare. My goodness, there's so many people. Oh, there's a bicyclist. I don't know what he's doing riding his bike in the. Oh my gosh, people on scooters. Do you guys have any idea how cold it is outside? It's -7 Celsius. Oh, here we go. People finally had it. They're just plowing through the crowds. That's not good. This poor old lady. So yeah, we're gonna have to fix this because this is not ideal at all. Eventually, once this bus does finally make it to where it's going, these people will at least the crowd will get a little smaller. But yeah, but part of this whole project too is to make sure this is a functional city, not just a city that you know looks nice or whatever. I know I do have some cheats on to be able to make this happen, and I'm using lots of mods, but Ideally, I do want this to be somewhat functional. And as you can tell here, we're actually kind of profitable as well, which is great. But in order to accomplish some of these cities, I do use some of those mods and cheats just because I want to get things moving quickly. And then after everything is where I'd like it to be, that is where I really focus on the fun stuff or the not so fun stuff, which is managing the city in a way that makes sense for everything here to come out exactly as we want it to. So, trying to see here, we have some complaints of noise. I believe one of the best ways to solve that is by planting trees. So, why don't we grab a couple of trees here, plop them down for these nice folks. And, um, oh, you know what? I just realized I don't have there's a mod I really like to use for landscaping that I don't have anymore, unfortunately, because of the fact that I don't think it's supported anymore. Oh wait, no, no, never mind. Okay, no, we have it here. That's good. That's good. Let's do. Trying to see here. Maybe some nice lindens would be adequate, just to fill this area. In real life, this area I think has a little bit more. Uh, what is this? I don't remember that being here. That doesn't really fit the city at all. But yeah, this is usually, I think, parking lot space here. Um, so yeah, I'll have to figure out something there. Let's see what else complaints we have. Crematorium spaces are still pretty bad. So let's see if we can grab a few more crematoriums, get them placed, and see if perhaps that will help. Want to make sure that we have a good amount of these. Because again, as morbid as it is important to have this because there are going to be people that die. It just happens. So we want to make sure that they have everything that they need, so that way we don't get those death waves. Crematorium availability is now at capacity. That's an odd number to have. We should probably place one more crematorium down. Um, let's see, just for ha-has here. Oh my gosh, it's still the same number. Anyways, we were just gonna ignore that. Now all these different hearses are going to come out and they're going to tackle the death wave as best they can, making sure that all these different bodies that are waiting for pickup are able to get processed and handled appropriately. So obviously, with traffic being a problem, and I think it is a massive, massive problem, um, the effectiveness of the fire department, the effectiveness of the police, the effectiveness of death care, it's all going to be correlated with this traffic. So anything in this downtown area in the central business district and even in Hillside is going to be impacted by the fact that the roads are just at this moment crippled. So that's also a contributing factor to the death wave. They also, if they're traveling from up here to go down to Washington Hill in the south end, they're not going to be able to pick up all those bodies. So we do have to figure out something there as well. I believe I finished the off ramp for 8. Did I actually or no? It doesn't look like I did. I think there's an off ramp somewhere here that Route 8 can take. So that way people can get onto Route 8 and then get off. I know I did it for north. I don't think I did it for south. Is there an off ramp here? Because I believe there is. Yeah, I'll have to take a quick look and consult Google Earth with that. But either way, we do want traffic to improve. One of the other things that we can do is we can also incorporate some death care in other places other than just that. So if there's a place that makes sense, perhaps if we do something like right here, and we do all the upgrades necessary. I did not mean to place that there. But, oh my gosh, I'm doing it again. Hold on. There we go. These poor people that lived here are now homeless. They've just been completely kicked out for a cemetery or a crematorium that isn't even going to be used. Poor guys. Um, let's see. Is there any other place that this can go? Perhaps we can place one here. Kind of want to, I don't want to be too random in where I place these because I do want to, again, stick to the design of the city. But that is important to me to make sure that it is functional. Looks like the water here is subsiding. I believe I have the option to rebuild this now. Perfect. So now we have our Walmart back. And our gas station. Hello. There we go. What else? What are you guys complaining about? Looks like no plumbing or electricity. That's probably because they're not on a road. That should go away now. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. What about you guys? There are people, I swear, there. Whoa. Holy cow. How can you even play basketball here? Are these people also, let me see, are these people also homeless? Because I know homeless people tend to hang around. Oh my gosh. There's 84 homeless people in the city. Actually, that's not a park, so it doesn't count as a place where homeless would go. Let's see where they are. Let's see where the homeless people are. There's a lot of older people in this neighborhood. That's interesting. It's kind of true to real life. Suburbs are usually, in this day and age at least, filled with a lot of people who kind of live there for a while and, just basically living out their retirement age there. Where is a lot of children in this neighborhood? They're pumping out babies like crazy. Where are the homeless campers? Oh my. Okay. Hold on. I want to see if there's any more. There's one there. There's more here. This is kind of interesting because these are high school and elementary school parks. So ideally, you would not want to have homeless people making encampments there. I don't see any homeless people though. Maybe is this person homeless? No. They're sightseeing. Oh, this person might be. Poorly educated. Oh no, he has a house. Okay. At least with all these different fields, if there are homeless people, they're quite distributed across them, which is nice. But we do want to lower that homeless rate as well. We do want to make sure that that's taken care of. That everyone here has a home. There we go. Here's a homeless person. Helen De La Rosa. Let's add her as a favorite so we can follow her around, see and make sure that she eventually does get a place. I like to do that. I like to check in on the homeless and make sure that they get a place. A lot of times they do, which is awesome. But there are times too that they just kind of move out of the city. So make sure that Helen gets a place. And as you can see here, the little tents and shacks they built in this park, the little homeless encampments. So just want to make sure those people get a place and are able to live here in the city. One of the best ways to do that is to create low rent housing, which I eventually want to expand upon because I know of a couple different places that we could do that. The problem I consistently face, though, is that they build these obnoxious looking buildings, which are not at all realistic to Waterbury. So, not a fan of that. Really, not a fan of that. But we'll get around what we can. I think I originally had tried to use the Soviet pack because a lot of those buildings resemble the low income housing that different housing authorities build for high density low income housing. Which would be cool, but again, it's another mod, it's another download, it's another hassle. Let me see here. This shouldn't be like that. Maybe it should. I don't know. One of the things I don't like is you can't really customize these bikers. You can't really customize intersections and lights that much, which I'm not a huge fan of. God, this traffic is atrocious. Where's everyone going is my question. How is that possible? I think because the population is centered around this area, it's gonna be pretty intense. But once we build out other towns and there's other stores and places for people to go, I think we'll see less traffic issues because people like to like the simulated people here like to go to different spots and hang out around different areas other than just places closest to them. Let's also get some bike parking out there. I would love for people to ride their bikes often. I actually used to ride my bike. I think I shared this before. I used to ride my bike down to this area quite often to take the city bus back because it was really fun. Let me see. Get some more around here. Oop, maybe not there. Most of the people who ride their bikes in this city, I have to say, are usually children. I haven't seen too many adults ride bikes like often. You do have like a couple people that will go around on different things, scooters, mopeds, things like that. But the game is obviously the game. It wants people to bike, and there's going to be citizens that want to bike, so we'll give them places to bike. And one of the things that I want to do too is build bike lanes. I don't understand how City of Waterbury does not have bike lanes. It's one of those things that I always feel like when I see them, I think they're really convenient. I'm usually always in a car. I'm not really biking that often. Whenever I see them, I think, wow, that's really convenient. And also, do they have that? But then, if I'm like, wait a minute, why doesn't Waterbury have any? Like, there's a lot of people that I do see at times riding bikes in the summer, and it'd be great if like kids could have a safe place to ride on the street. So there's also, like I said, a lot of kids that will do that. So I don't understand why we don't have any. So I would love to add those as well. My goodness, this place is bustling. Look at this. There are so many people walking around. This is a high school over here. We got plenty of kids loitering. And my oh my, are people just eating up these shops? I would love to just grab a random person and see where they're going. Destination. Let's follow this guy for a little bit. This is just crazy how massive the crowds are. But also subsequently the traffic. I was thinking to myself, like, I don't understand why more people don't just drive. Because like in Waterbury, a lot of people just drive. But then I look at the traffic, I'm like, oh, they just want to walk because it's probably way quicker. Yeah, that's just insane. Look at this. Look at this exit here. Bunch of people trying to get on and off. I think I messed this up by not making it longer because typically there's a more space for people to get on and off if they need to. So that's definitely going to have to get fixed. This place looks nice. St. Anne's. I like how this came out. This looks really nice and pleasant. Not at all like how it looks like in real life, unfortunately, like I said too, because of the limitations with the assets. But I'm hoping with the asset mods, perhaps we can go back, revisit this, and spruce up some of the things that are not exactly how we would like them to be. I'm really trying to kill time here to get around the snow because the snow is killing me. But it gives me an opportunity to kind of showcase some of the things that I did while you guys were not watching because I wasn't live streaming. This is kind of a nice example of one of the neighborhoods I was working on. Even to over here, this building out this school, nice little suburban neighborhood up on the hill, beautiful view of the city from up here, and of Holy Land. And as you can tell, traffic is much milder. And this infamous road here, which takes you up to Prospect, Seems to be nice and easy flowing. My frame rate is dying. Oh my gosh. But yeah. Oh my, that's terrible. Literally 4 lanes of piled up traffic in the middle of a flood. But why is that happening? Let's see. I feel like this needs to not be a traffic light. I feel like this just needs to be a yield situation. But of course, now that I did that after those guys had a green light and went through, they're going to be stuck, which means that these people can't move. I know that this over here is a traffic light, but it doesn't give priority left turns like it does in real life, which kind of stinks. I'll have to get a traffic light modifying app to do, or a mod to do that. And then this should not be a traffic light either. And this should not be allowed to turn left because your left turn was back there. So this should help traffic flow a bit. At least I'm hoping, because it seems that like there's no traffic past this point. But we definitely want to free up this road because it's just chaotic. What the heck? There's a helicopter in this building. Oh, it's a medical helicopter. Okay. You can hear the countless sirens, people, desperately trying to get through traffic. And of course, they haven't added the yield for emergency vehicles feature. I don't know if that's a mod or not. I'll look into that because it really bothers me when ambulances, fire trucks, and police cars are stuck in this kind of traffic. There should be a way to make cars just move out of the way. We're getting some traffic flow. Finally, that car was able to take his left turn to get on 84. So we'll see if with this green light enough people are able to squeeze through. It looks like they are, so that's good. But that was a very short green light. Oh my goodness. Oh no, it's still green. Why are they not going? Why are these people not going? You literally can go straight. Oh, now it's red. I don't know if you can hear that siren. Probably not, but it's incredibly annoying. Let me see if I can turn it on for you guys. There we go. Now you can hear it. Love to share the love. But yeah, that's just atrocious. That's really not great. And then I hate when people do this. I hate when people do this in real life and in this game. Last minute lane change. Just stick to your lane, buddy. Just keep going. So yeah, that's not getting any better. And it's, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's making for such a nightmare of traffic. Holy cow. I really do need to get a mod to handle these a little bit better because the traffic in any city that I build is really kind of at times atrocious. This is no exception. This is terrible. I've never seen it like this before. It also doesn't help my frame rate either have a bunch of cars stuck because then the game has to start despawning them for saving like performance resources. But I don't really like that because to me it's not very realistic. The car's on a road, it's not just going to disappear. But it is what it is. Okay, so this seems to be moving a little bit better because it's broken up some of the traffic. But again, this is the real nightmare here. This is a really tough spot to resolve. Yeah, we'll have to come back to the drawing board and think about something for that. I also want to spend some time to do a better job with the buses, but the problem is if traffic is really bad, buses are not going to really do anything to help. They're just going to probably at that point create more traffic. So Let me see if this line of people is still really, really bad. It looks like it's not as bad. It's definitely gotten smaller since we did this. This was the stop that we were looking at originally with the huge amount of people. This one can use a little love, though. Oh, that's also 229. Okay, so that's not horrible. That's not. Could be a lot worse. Every once in a while, you see a mob of people waiting for a bus, and it's like, we got to get more buses there. That's crazy. Yeah, I think that's it. One of the other projects I worked on too while I was away was a Italian-style city because for our honeymoon we had gone over to Italy, and of course for me, um, somebody who really loves this game, I can't visit a place and then not try to make it when I get back home in City Skylines, or make something that reminds me of it. So I did a little bit of that for a while. Then an update came out which broke a crap ton of my mods, so I just gave up instantaneously because I was like, this is too much. But I do want to get back to that eventually. I do want to make a nice version of that where we can kind of get the better, get the mods working again, and then make sure that it actually works this time and not just breaks after one update. That'd be awesome. We're going to follow this bus a little bit and see how traffic flow is. There is so much pedestrian traffic. It is atrocious. There's just so many people in the city, and I don't understand why everyone is out and about at the moment. I wonder if that has something to do with those parking spaces too, to be honest. Maybe people are just parking and getting out of their cars or something. I'm not sure. All these lane changes, dude. Stick to a lane. Oh, there we go. There's a big ugly mess. We followed him right to it. What line is this? 425. Let's get some more buses assigned there so that way these people can get to where they're trying to go. That's a lot of people just standing around waiting for a bus. I think too, if buses are not fast enough, pedestrians will just stick to walking or potentially, a car. And that might be why as well our traffic situation is terrible. So it's kind of like a catch-22. In order to fix one thing, you have to fix another. But you can't fix that thing until this other thing is fixed, and yada yada yada. It just goes on forever. Like obviously I would love for traffic to be fixed so bus could move faster, and that would mean that less people are walking and less people are driving and yada yada. But like, you can't get one to move without the other, unfortunately. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Honestly, this isn't too unfamiliar from what Waterbury would look like if like 84 was really badly backed up, but as you can tell, it's not. It's moving quite smoothly. But yeah, when 84 is backed up, the entire city becomes a parking lot. It's horrible. And by parking lot, I just mean that everyone's stuck and stopped. Not that people are actually parking, getting out of their cars, but Ugh. I'm sad to say we were not able to get too many things done here because of the snow and because of the mod issues and wanting to address some of these problems. Let's see, actually take a look at healthcare availability and see how that's doing, because it looks like we've got a good amount of people that are injured. Actually, that's interesting. Is there any upgrades we can do there? No. Okay. We may need to build out another clinic. Place it somewhere here. I know in real life there is something kind of like a clinic here. Let's plop that here and see if we can get people to get better here. Because there seems to be a lot of... Oh, there's also a lot of sickness over here. I can't remember if there's a clinic here or not. But I know that there's some stuff in this plaza, so I'm just gonna place something here. Just to help out with that, because again, we don't want all these blips to constantly be going off. We want people to be getting the services that they need. How are you guys doing here in East Mountain? Not great. Not great. Let's do something here. There we go. That should work. And now we'll get a little bit more support for all those different services in this area. Looks like the Mad River is still drying up, still fixing its flood. At least this area here is protected from the water once more. And honestly, even though it doesn't look that great up here, I kind of do like the way it is here. So we'll figure out something there. I've messed it up so bad that I'm not sure I'll be able to recover it, unfortunately. But we'll try. We'll try something. I really would like that to work and work well. So we'll see how that goes. I believe we can start working on this area too. It's not very complex. It's a pretty straightforward neighborhood. But my only concern is, like, as I said before, the idea that we're not able to quite tell where the road is. So let's do this. Let's build out a couple of different things. I'm tired of just flying around the city with you guys. I want you to actually see how I do some of this stuff in case you've never seen it before and are curious as to how I build it to look like that. So I know in this area, there's actually a good amount of mixed use, but it's not big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take 3 spaces instead of the full. And we'll just go like that. There we go. Now we'll let these fill in, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of our extra parking, which, whoa, I don't know what that's all about. There should be somewhere here. I think it's honestly under here, but why is this broken like that? Yeah, that's the parking spaces. So what we're going to do is we're going to just scatter these every other house or every other plot. So that way we have plenty of parking. There we go. This should allow for these houses to have a place to park. Once it's fleshed out, it'll look a lot better as well. We got a lot of just construction going on at the moment. But once this is done, it should look a lot like this. And we have these apartment buildings with the parking spaces in between, so that way they don't have to park on the street, because again, a lot of these streets in Waterbury don't actually have sidewalks. So we just want to kind of keep with that theme. And because they don't have sidewalks, they don't have street parking. So we're going to move all those cars into parking spots. Well, they do have street parking in real life, but again, because I'm using City Skylines, they don't have it in the game. I could build a custom road that perhaps would look like that without sidewalks and have street parking, but again, I don't want to get too carried away with that. I think though, let me try and toy with that, 'cause it would be cool to build something like that. Generic road. Why is road builder broken? Let me see here. Can I just make one? Let me see if I can make one. I'd like to make one. I think that would be good. Let's see. We do something like that, unless it just broke my game. Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, hey, look at that. That's actually not that bad. That looks pretty good. The only problem now is because I did this, if I want to like make more of this, it's gonna make a problem. Let me try place more. Let me turn on anarchy. I'm not trying to have this break stuff. Boop. How's that? That should work. I mean, we could now stack these a little bit more densely because they're not going to be in their own way without parking. Let's see. I actually kind of like that. That looks a lot better. Oops. I made something I like a lot better than what I originally did. That sucks. We'll keep it for now. We'll see if we like it. I honestly, this to me, the spacing looks a lot more realistic to how it is in Waterbury because they're not stacked next to each other like that. So I might just keep up with this because I do like that. But I am happy to know that I have that option if I ever need to use it in the future. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. And this is the Long Hill neighborhood here. Actually, sorry, this is the new PAC. There's some of these neighborhoods I have no idea where they get their names from. Like New PAC, WOW. Interesting. All right. Well, I believe this is it for right now. What I'm going to do on my end, just to, as I said, make sure that when we come back next time, we're actually seeing green and can expand the city. I'm going to, on my own, off stream, just let the game run a bit so that way we can get back to spring. I'm sure there's a mod where I can control snow and all that stuff, but I don't want to change the game too much. And I've already like broken this map several times, and I'm just glad to have it back in one piece so I can continue this with you guys. Because, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to lose this either because I've worked a lot on this. I don't want to lose my hard work here. So we will just leave it where it lies and just try our best to make this work. But yeah, so that's it for right now, guys. I really appreciate you tuning back in. I'm very sorry it took me such a long time to get back into this for everybody, but you know, I'm here. I got it. It's working. I haven't abandoned anything. Just like I said, between moving and getting married, there was just so much going on, and I really didn't have the time to be able to tell you guys why. So, but just want to let everyone know now because I know that there were several people that were really looking forward to a follow-up. So we are going to finish this city. We are going to finish this project. I promise that. Might not be a daily stream. Might be more so weekly. I will, of course, keep you guys posted about all that. So, again, thank you very much for watching. It really means the most to me. We will be back again soon. All right? Take it easy, everybody.